All right. And now we're going to bring on one of my favorite human beings. She is a business owner. She has been in the workforce for years, and she's going to help us talk about a topic that we have kind of briefly mentioned previously in the show, but that I really want to harp on, which is what it's like for moms in the workplace and women in the workplace. So let's bring on Miss Savannah Bashara. Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going good.
This is
Oh,
Kobe.
and we have a puppy. Hello, puppy. Okay, so you were in Austin, Texas.
I'm in Austin, Texas.
You are, which I love Austin. I just side note for everybody who doesn't know, I am, even though I live in Florida now, I am a born and raised true blood Texas girl through and through. And I am really excited to have you on because so Savannah has, first of all, is a remarkable human being, and is always talking out about diversity and inclusion, and has all the energy in the world. And by the way, I think you need to hook up with Tara, and y'all need to like do a show together at some point or something, because you two have such similar energy. But now you're also starting a business.
I am.
Yeah.
So if you wouldn't mind, I'm not trying to get sidetracked.
No, you're good.
I'd like to touch on something that you and Tara talked about briefly.
Let's talk about it. Let's do it.
The KKK meeting that everyone was shocked about.
Oh God, yeah.
So that's our white privilege, right?
Yeah, it is.
That we're shocked about that.
And if you
know, there's not a single Black person that would be shocked about that.
No, and actually that's what's interesting. So I was gonna say, Tara and I kind of got off on a whole other thing about that, but
Don't worry, I'll bring it back up.
Good, thank you. Yeah, thank you for circling back.
We can't just bring that up and then not talk more about it.
And not talk a little bit more about that. So actually that is something, it did shock me. And I've told that story before. I'm not even sure it's the first time you've ever heard it, but I have told that. And it doesn't shock people. I talked to Kevin.
It's so common.
We have a friend who does a show that talks a lot about
open rant.
Open rant. Yeah, and I love it. It's awesome. You get on there to say all the things you have to say about stuff.
All of it.
and all of the things. And I've talked about it with him. And when I told him that same story about her not being able to drive down a certain street because of a KKK meeting, and this was 3 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago now, he didn't even seem shocked.
Nope.
He didn't even. Mm-hmm.
That's our white privilege.
Like what?
and just a side note, in case anyone watching, or if they know anyone who happens to rebuttal that with, well, there's Black Panthers, what's the difference? I would just like to point out that the difference between white power and Black power is that white power is about oppressing people and Black power isn't.
Yes, it's about getting rid of that oppression.
Yes.
And a lot of people hear Black power, and I think there's a miscommunication about what that means. Like you said, I think that they misunderstand. That people think, oh, they only want Black people in power. No, they're just saying they want everybody. Yeah, they want to have everybody have the same opportunity. That's the big thing, is the same opportunity. And yes, you hear stories that, oh, this person rose above and this person rose above, and let me tell you, I've done it, and Savannah's done it, and because women get it too, but we shouldn't have to. And minorities shouldn't have to. And older people shouldn't have to. That's ridiculous. It's lunacy.
It's time to focus on real problems.
Yeah, it is. It is. And so to that point, so you're a mom. You have a cute little kid. Oh, so cute. So cute. I love his sassy personality. He cracked me up last night when I needed it most. That little boy cracked me up. Because over the phone, he cracked me up. What do you think? I mean, do people treat you differently as a professional because you're a mom? Do you get flack about motherhood and business ownership and all of that?
I wouldn't know, because I haven't given him a chance. I went from being a stay-at-home mom and just decided, in the middle of a pandemic, why not open up a business, right?
So you haven't gotten to talk to enough people to be discriminated.
I don't. It's just I've my entire life I've taken the path of the absolute most resistance, and it's somehow worked out. But
same. There's something challenging. I think there's something wrong with us, but it kind of works out. Yeah. But I think, so talk about solutions. So being a mom and starting a business, what that's like. What do you say to people that say, You have to pick one or the other. You can't do both well. What do you say to that?
I don't have an answer for that.
No.
I would say you just have to, so, I mean, if you just kind of think in absolutes,
Mhm.
so like if, so if I want to do this, what's the absolute worst thing that could happen? And you
Right.
kind of, think, well, okay, I could lose my house. I could,
Yeah.
but here's the thing, your kid, you're not doing your kid any favors by playing it safe in life. Like and I'm not saying like kids should absolutely be your first priority, but
Yes.
we can't die, living life safe. That how unfulfilling.
No, no, no. And ladies, I want to say, yeah, no, seriously. And women, please take that lesson to heart. I've heard a lot of parents, men and women, say, I can't because I have to think about my kids. I can't because I have to think about my kids. Well, your kids are going to benefit if you take a little risk and come out on top.
Your kids are
They
looking
are.
at you like you're
Yeah, you're their example.
yeah, absolutely. You tell them, go for it. Why
Yeah.
not? What's the worst that could happen?
Yeah. Yeah. So if you're homeless, go live with your parents for a couple months and figure it out till you get a job. Like, I don't know what to tell you. It's not that serious. You're not going to be
and
homeless on the street.
it doesn't even have to be that extreme, but maybe just downsizing to an apartment, and then there's always houses on the market.
Yeah,
You
you'll
can always
figure
move
it
back
out.
into a
You'll
house.
figure it out. So in hiring, so one of the things that we come across a lot is that um, people that have employment gaps are deemed as invaluable. Yeah, So people with employment gaps, for whatever reasons, it could be health, it could be you took off time to go help a family member, it could be you needed a sanity break, it could be motherhood, which is where I was going with all of that. Is mothers get this all the time? How dare you take time off to have a human? Ew. And then try to
Oh,
work. Ew. Like, what is this
well,
attitude that people have? So you get these employment gaps, and then people deem you worthless. But some of the best people that I have ever had work for me had huge employment gaps. Huge.
oh, my resume is such a train wreck. And then, so I'm glad you mentioned that, because I actually had a 2-year gap where I was like 25, and I was a stay-at-home mom, but they weren't my biological kids. And so then I'm entering back in the job market, and I'm like, well, I've been a stay-at-home mom. Well, how many kids do you have? Well, I don't have any kids. and we're no longer together, but
I was taking care of two.
So,
No, it's true. And so and then you get told, oh no, you were out of work for a couple of years. So,
yeah.
so what's the solution to that? Because to me, it's just, so I have this theory, and Shingira and I were just talking about this, that resumes are dumb.
So
They're real
dumb.
dumb, because I've worked with you. I know your work ethic. And that's back when you were a teenager.
And my resume is trash.
Yeah. So mine's not that great. That shocks people. Take out the last few years. I mean, like the last, since I've had my company, obviously. Before that, yeah. And it's because I know I wanted to learn everything. Like I wanted to try different things. I wanted to do different things. I wanted to experience everything. And like you said,
that's life. I mean, who
yeah,
doesn't
why
want to do
not?
that?
Yeah. And so
who knows what they want to do in 5 years when they're 20? Like, get out of here.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know anything when you're in your 20s. As to Tara's point earlier, I'm not sure I'm going to be a full adult till I hit 40.
No.
But I think that it's important to remember resumes don't tell you who the person is. So the solution to that, I think, in my opinion, is getting rid of the resume and getting to know the person. What were your thoughts? So Shingira's suggestion was video interviews. Like, basically you sit down, you film, this is who I am, like almost like a video resume. What would you think about that? Like, hey, this is who I am. This is what I can do. This is what I bring to the table. And then they're seeing you, they're hearing you. Would that help, or would it cause more problems?
I think it would help. I feel, for me personally, I feel like finding a job became harder whenever computers became in play, because even though even though I hadn't necessarily stayed at a job for longer than 6 months, at least I could go in, hand in my application or resume, nice to meet you, da 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 da, I'm so interested, I've always loved
Right.
eating here, whatever the job was, and you
Right.
actually got that talk. So it's like by the time we were done with the conversation, I'm just kind of crossing my fingers that they don't really pay too much attention to the resume and more about meeting me. But then,
right.
as soon as it was like, well, we don't do all the applications are on the computer now. Well, then I'm just stuck with my crappy resume. I'm just stuck with how I look
You're
on
like,
paper, which is nothing.
Like, but I could really do stuff, I swear. And I am reliable.
At least know who you're judging.
Yes. And I do want to myth bust this real quick because I'm so sick of hearing this. Well, I need to know that somebody's reliable. So I need to know that they've stayed at a job for multiple years. What does that have to do with anything? I've had people on my staff, on other, on client staffs and all that have been at jobs for years and years who call in all the time, don't finish projects on time, disappear. Like, where'd you go for 2 or 3 hours in the middle of the day? What can the person bring to the table? As Tara pointed out, you're not going to stay with the company forever in all likelihood. Hi, puppies.
Right.
That's okay.
Do you want me to make real quick? Sorry.
No, you're fine. No, you're fine. And so why do people put so much emphasis on that? It's an old way of thinking. It's a form of discrimination. People don't realize that. You have in your head that in order for somebody to be reliable, they have to do X, Y, Z. Well, reliability can mean all different kinds of things,
right.
All different kinds of things. And I would rather have somebody that gives me 100% for 6 months than somebody that gives me 70% for 2 years.
And you know what, for that 6 months, I mean, I may have only been there 6 months, but I would absolutely pick up any shift that needed to be. I mean, you could call me and I'd still be able, no problem. Let me get dressed real quick. I'm on my way.
Yeah, I'm coming. Yeah, I got you.
If you got the hours, I'm going to be there.
Yeah, same. And I love those people. Like when I'm hiring. So I think that that's a big thing too. So we talked about talking people, getting to know people. I think this is the next evolution in hiring is having people be able to present who they really are up front instead of just a piece of paper. Because you can't define a person on your piece of paper. You can't do it. You can't show who you really are on a piece of paper. That's ridiculous. So just being able to share.
It's just unfair. Like, it's not fair that someone can't bounce jobs around. Like, they haven't found what they're looking for yet. What's wrong with that?
Yeah. So what? Yeah, exactly. So when I did find what I wanted, now I've been doing it for years and years and years and years.
Yes.
Like you have to, I explored before that. Let that happen. That's okay. And you know what? I know older people that want to do that too. People think that's an age thing. I know people in their 50s and 60s who are amazing employees who do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And I love it.
I mean, I knew before I was ever, like whenever I was still in high school, that I wanted to be a hairdresser, right? But I just never went to school for it. And then, stumbled around life for 15 years. And then I've been in the industry now for 8 years. But here's the thing. Even if I could go back, I still wouldn't have just jumped into being a hairdresser because, I mean, all those experiences, all those failures, I mean, all that, I mean, it's so important.
And yes, thank you for saying that. Yes, so your failures are important and it's okay. And it's okay to just go out there and learn. Yeah. And I think that's another thing in hiring. When you're hiring folks, let me put this out there for you. Again, we're going back to diversity because your experience and your life experiences helps create your diversity. Look at Chin Gear. He is an Asian person from Russia or Kazakhstan. Sorry. How obscure, but the things that and now he's in Canada. But the things that he's learned from that are invaluable. So getting people that have all these different backgrounds is so important. It's so important. So the next thing I want to really touch on you with, and this is one of the main reasons I had you on, because you and I have talked about these issues, is as women, the nonsense that we put up with in hiring. And I want to talk about some possible solutions. So one thing that a lot of people don't realize is attractive women are discriminated against often in hiring. Against. People think that that's a bonus. A lot of times not. And I want you to stop and think about who usually does the initial interview. HR. HR is 90-something% female. And a lot of people, due to their own insecurities, don't necessarily like when a more attractive person comes in. And a lot of times, actually, it's unconscious, is when I've kind of read up on things. It seems to be more of an unconscious thing. But attractive women get discriminated against. Then they go into one interview and a guy won't quit staring at their boobs. So they just get it so bad on both sides. And it's ridiculous. And then women I get asked, and women get asked more illegal questions, by the way, than anybody else. And this is fact. So you can look this up on like any site that you want to. Basically, Forbes did an article on it, and there are a few others too. I can't think off the top of my head. Women get asked more illegal questions, like, "Are you married? Do you have children? Do you plan to have children? Why don't you have children?" Um, just all these different things.
And we answer them because we need the job.
Yeah, which don't, by the way. Side note, do not answer that.
If you're in the middle of an interview, it's like, who's going to sit there and be like, you don't have the right to be asking me this. We just want the job.
Me. My messed up self does that. But seriously, so as women, we go through all of this. And you actually had a really interesting story about that. But instead of talking about that, I want to know what your solution is for this. Like, in hiring, as the hiring manager, what should the company be doing to ensure that women are getting just as good of a application process and interview process as their male counterparts?
So I can't really speak on the application process, but I can, like, I know what
in
it's
the
like
interview.
in the interview. I can't really speak on that, but
Right.
But it's like, I know what it's like to be in a job, and then you get judged. If you, God forbid, you get a promotion or get moved up, right? You must have done something for that. And
so to change that culture, like, how do you do that?
I would just say, be true to yourself. You have absolutely no control. And the guy before me was talking about this. You have absolutely no control about other people, but just be true to yourself. Just be yourself. If people want to judge you, that's their business.
But on the company side. On the company side, what should they be doing, do you think? Like, to just
stop hiring white men.
That's so you can't stop hiring white men. You have white guys need jobs too. Come on now.
Just get them out of there.
No more.
Don't let white men run your companies.
I think, well, that actually, you know what? Actually, you know what's interesting? So we were I said at the beginning, the statistic that even though women and minorities make up over 60% of the workforce, we have 12% of the positions of power. So actually, as funny as you were being about it, I think you hit the nail on the head.
I mean, I'm laughing, but I was being totally serious.
Yeah, exactly. Like, have some diversity in actual decision making, because you know why? Then it trickles down. The whole culture changes. Whole culture will change. Yeah. When you put somebody that is a woman and or minority of some kind in power, everything else changes. And for the better. And again, you're going to increase revenue. You're going to have a better customer base. You're going to have happier employees because they're going to relate. Let me tell you, it is very discouraging. And I've heard this even more from minorities. When you get into a job and no one in power looks like you.
Yes.
It's discouraging. It's like, well, I'm never going to go anywhere here. This is dumb.
And for the love of
you're
God,
just going to check out.
For the love of God, please stop saying that you don't see color as an excuse to be racist. Like,
everybody sees color. Unless you are blind.
You've heard people say it.
I have. And I don't understand that. Yes, you do. Yeah. Yes, you do. And it's okay. Actually, I embrace it. And I think that's what we need. I've heard a lot of people say,
if we don't see color, then we can't appreciate the beauty in it. We can't see that it's beautiful.
Yes. I embrace everybody's diversity. Embrace it. Yes. Embrace these things. And I think that it is important to remember, as you're promoting companies, that will impact who gets hired on with you, because people are looking you up. Okay. They are looking up who runs your company. They are looking up the people that work there and what they're saying. And if they look up, let's say it's a Hispanic woman, and she looks up at your company and she sees 5 white dudes in power, she's going to go, they don't share my ethics. They don't value me. They don't value people like me. I'm not going to go work there. You are going to miss out on top talent by not promoting the right people and by promoting diversity. And it's okay to promote a white dude. I'm not going to say, like, never promote a white dude. Okay. Because some of them are really great, but remember to promote other people too. And remember to look outside of the same. We were talking about this earlier. Don't just keep hiring and promoting the same. Look for change. Look for growth. Seek it out.
Yes.
Right?
Period.
And don't forget that people with employment gaps are still valuable, Good grief. Some of the best employees I've ever had huge employment gaps. I do. She does. And we're both entrepreneurs and we both do well for ourselves. Like, come on now, people. It's not the end of the world.
If anything, it's an advantage because we had some time to do something other than work, even though being a mom is definitely work.
Oh God, yes. Don't envy you that job. As cute as your kid is, I really don't envy you that job. So, all right, guys. So we're going to say goodbye to our lovely Savannah. Thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it.